Thank you for joining us on Hope TV. My name's Pastor Cameron Indoni, and I'm the youth pastor here at Church 1132. You know, with everything going on in the world right now, we need a place for all of us to be able to come together and to be filled with hope, with strength, and with courage. That's the purpose of Hope TV. You can follow us on social media to see which content we will be streaming each evening. Our prayer for you is no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, that you are filled with hope.
A number of years ago, Lisa and I had the opportunity to do some ministry in the state of Florida. We were going to be able to stay at a really nice retreat on the coast, and we were very excited about that. But we were even more excited because we knew that this retreat center, this conference center had sleep number beds, This is just when they just started the sleep number bed, and we saw the commercials, and we made sure we had one of the rooms that had the sleep number beds. Well, we made it to the resort, we made it to our room, and right there in our room, the very first thing we did is we got on the bed. Lisa got on one side, and I got on another, and we were just playing with the sleep number bed controls. By the time we were finished the few days that we were there, Lisa and I realized that we had different numbers. Yes. We had really some drastically different sleep needs and preferences. You know, the Sleep Number Bed Company has made millions, and they've capitalized on identifying and meeting the needs, the different needs of the couples and their sleep patterns. Well, we've discovered that in marriage, if you can identify and meet the needs, of your mate will be healthier. And guess what? When your mate's healthier, then your marriage will be healthier and stronger. So today, Lisa and I want to give you some help in your marriage, all right? We're going to give you some spiritual tips, some spiritual truths that you'll grab onto, but we will also give you some really cool practical tips that you can incorporate in your marriage even right now. So in this two-part teaching, we're going to reveal our top 5 needs in our marriage, all right? Yes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to show you and teach you how we meet each other's needs. So Steve, Lisa Collins, we're excited about being with you today. And we've been married and doing ministry for over 3 decades. Yes. I mean, she doesn't even look 30. So how in the world could that be? We've raised 3 children. They're doing great. They're walking with the Lord. They're growing. We're grandparents, believe it or not. And we love to help people in their marriages. We love to help people with parenting. We love to help people get set free as well.
Well, we did not buy a sleep number bed, although we did enjoy sleeping on it, but instead we bought a Tempur-Pedic bed after we saw all those commercials where they were dropping the bowling ball onto the bed and they had a glass of wine there and it didn't spill over, because we were desperate for me to get a good night's sleep.
Oh my goodness.
Now, Steve is a very noisy and active sleeper. And when he moves a lot, and he moves with a lot of vigor. And he does not turn over like the normal person does. But when he decides he needs to go over, he flips in the air and he actually gets airborne. Goodness. I was desperate to get a good night's sleep. So we tried out the Tempur-Pedic bed.
There's a reason for the airborneness, there really is.
And I'd like to hear that.
Okay, well, you've heard it before, but I'm going to tell the whole world, okay? Here's the deal, the reason for the airborneness is corners, And so I used to just turn over real gently like this, but when you do that, you're actually pulling
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, when you're pulling the sheets, and then I got tired of just so many nights, I would turn over and then I would put my head and I'd have the corner of the sheet, all up in my face because it had pulled off. So there's a reason for it. I got tired of that.
I'm glad you clarified that for us.
When you go airborne, it doesn't pull the sheet.
Okay,
so there you go.
Good to know. Well, I am a very quiet and still sleeper. And as I said, Steve is a very active and noisy sleeper.
Not gonna lie, she doesn't know that at times she does snore,
I must be sick or something. But I like to curl up on my side when I go to sleep, and Steve sprawls out literally like a drunk old grizzly bear.
Oh my goodness.
I like to have a bundle of blankets on top of me, He wants no covers at all.
No. I sleep with no covers most of the time because it's so hot in our bed, okay? And so I love to have a lot of covers, and I would love to be able to, and every once in a while when we crank that temperature down enough, okay, then I get to use covers. But when we do that, okay, I look over to my wife. I literally cannot find my wife anywhere. I look and I'm like, where is she? She's pulled not the sheets, not the covers, but the comforter all over her head to where the only thing she has is a breathing opening so she doesn't die. That's how cold she gets.
Well, that's the truth, and I go to bed like that every night. But I go to bed cold, and he goes to bed hot.
True.
I wake up hot. He wakes up cold.
Okay,
very different.
And I like my sheets really, really, really tight and smooth, like military, like throw a cord on it and it pops up, okay? Now, Lisa...
Dramatic.
Okay, I'll speak dramatic. Lisa can sleep on a bundle of sheets, okay? Wadded up like this. She can be on top of a blanket, okay? And it won't bother her a bit. That's not like me. Man, I can feel the little tiny bit, like a little piece of sand on my sheet, and it bothers me. It really
It's like
does.
The Princess and the Pea, that book, The Princess and the Pea.
I don't even know what the Princess
story.
and the Pea is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't even know what that is. Well, this is for real, okay? Lisa, at times, I will come in, and Lisa will be watching TV in bed. She will have a bag of chips, okay? Let me just say, that should be banned in all 50 states of the United States of America, okay? There's no eating chips in bed. You just can't do it.
I'm on my side.
It's our bed, okay? And what's on her side eventually flows down to my side, okay? One night, I think I was watching, if you remember this, I was watching a football game or something that went late, and so she had already gone to bed. And so, because she's such a light sleeper, I try my best to be very, very, very quiet. And so I go in there, it's dark, I can't I feel the bed and then I pull the covers down. Okay, quietly and gently. I'm always quiet and gentle.
Oh, yes,
right.
always.
And I go in and I get on my stomach and I'm about ready to go to sleep, and I'm like, what is going on? What is this? There's stuff I feel in my chest. I can't see it. And so I literally get up and I go into the bathroom and I shut the doors and I turn the light on. I'm not kidding. I got nacho cheese Doritos on my chest, all over my chest, sleeping in the bed with nacho cheese Doritos.
They were not nacho cheese. They were Fritos.
Fritos. Well, there's no doubt that Lisa and I do have some differences, major different needs when it comes to sleeping and sleeping arrangements. But we also have some drastically different needs when it comes to emotional and personal needs in our marriage and in our relationship. We've heard it said that you don't marry your soulmate, you make your soulmate. You don't marry your soulmate, you make your soulmate by loving them and meeting their needs day after day, week after week, year after year. And then you actually are molding your mate as you love them and as you meet their needs. So it's really, really, really important to be a student of your mate. You've got to study them. You got to get to know them. You got to know what their dreams are, their visions are, their desires, and what their needs are. Don't be annoyed, okay, by their neediness. We're all needy. Be motivated by their needs. Look at their needs and begin to try to meet those needs instead of copping an attitude and go, man, they're so needy. My wife is so needy. My husband is. No, find out what those needs are. Many of them are legitimate, and go meet those needs as best as you can. God's put you, okay, in a very strategic place to help your spouse by encouraging them and inspiring them. Now, I understand that you did nothing, you had nothing to do with their past. That your mate came in to this marriage with baggage. We all do, okay? And you had nothing to do with that. But from now on, okay, you can be encouraging and you can influence your mate. So whatever your mate's needs are, try to meet those needs. The problem is so many of us don't know what our needs are, much less our mate's needs. So if you don't know what your needs are, you don't know what your mate's needs are, you're not meeting those needs, you're not communicating your needs, then it's far past overtime for you to hear this message and know and be able to tap into what we're talking about today. In our first year of marriage, we discovered that Lisa was broken.
Yes.
She was really broken. and I was clueless. I was really clueless. Had no idea how to fix or make something right. And we had some major challenges in front of us. But 31 years later, okay, we're here today, okay? We're much less broken, much less clueless, and we have an awesome marriage. How'd that happen? How did we grow from where we were broken and clueless to where we are now walking with a great marriage, serving each other? Well, one of the main reasons, one of the main things that we did and we incorporated in our lives is what we found out. We found out what our needs were, and we've spent decades now meeting each other's needs. So we're going to talk to you about our top 5 needs. I understand these are not necessarily your top 5 needs, but what we want you to do is we want you to do some homework. We want you to find out what your needs are, your mate's needs, and y'all begin to talk about it. But what we want to do is we want to look at this process, not necessarily our specific needs, but the process that you can go through of helping meet your mate's needs. And I promise you, your marriage will be much stronger. Now, we've been influenced by a couple of books that we really, really enjoy. The first one is His Needs, Her Needs by William Harley. It's a great, we read it back in the day when we were engaged, I believe, and it began to really reveal some things to us of how to, it says His Needs, Her Needs is the name of the book. And Gary Chapman wrote a book a while back called Love Languages and Knowing What the Love Languages Are. All really good. Now, I know some of you are really spiritual out there. And some of you are going, well, you know, Jesus is going to be the one to meet the need of my husband. Jesus needs to meet the need of my wife. I can't meet their... Well, I understand that. Jesus is the great need meter. Got it. But you got to understand something. Much of the time, he uses people. He uses people, especially spouses.
That's right. Well, I'm a little more complex than Steve. He likes to say that I have a lot of moving parts. A lot of moving parts there. And I do. Yeah. So I really appreciate the effort that he puts into meeting my needs. In 1 Peter 3, verses 7 through 8, it says, "You husbands, in the same way, live with your wives in an understanding way." And it really is a good idea for husbands and wives to live with each other in an understanding way, because we want to be thoughtful. We want to be sensitive to our mate's feelings and desires. And even if they don't make sense to us, I don't even understand myself all the time. So how could I expect Steve to understand me all the time? You know, he had to discover how to meet my needs, and I had to discover how to meet his needs. And when we identify what makes our mates' needs thrive, and we can help them thrive, then we can help see them grow and just to flourish. And I know Steve. I know him so well that I could literally finish his sentences. I mean, I can read his mind.
That's scary, but true. That's true.
I can. You know, I know that Steve loves to make me laugh. He loves to joke and make me laugh, and I do all of the time. But to be honest, there are times where he will do anything to get a laugh, and it can become so embarrassing that I will attempt to move away from him. So maybe people won't actually know that we're together.
I think that I think we took covenant for better or worse, and then you ditched me in public.
But when I move away, he will, and if he notices it, he will move closer and say, "I just want everyone to know that you're with me," which is sweet. But sometimes he can take it too far. But seriously, I know his heart. I want to meet his needs because I love him so much. So Steve and I are going to share our 5 greatest needs in descending order. And your needs may not be the same as our needs, as he once said, but go ahead and be thinking about what are your top needs for each other. Well, my 5th greatest need is security. And to me, security is knowing that I can count on Steve. I can count on him to provide for me. I can count on him to protect me and keep me safe, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's like an invisible golden thread that's woven throughout all of my needs, and really, it's throughout most women's needs. You know, first of all, financial provision is very important to me. I want to know that Steve is paying the bills. And, you know, we trust God to meet our needs. He's always been our provider. He's come through on every occasion. But I do feel uncomfortable if Steve gets too busy and he forgets to pay a bill on time and we get a notice in the mail. That makes me feel uncomfortable.
Sometimes I'm not the most detailed person in the world.
Sometimes. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, "But if any man does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." So women want to know that they're provided for. They want to know there's enough money to buy food, there's enough money to take care of their kids and to provide for all of their needs. And Steve and I have no secrets when it comes to money or buying things. We've never had separate bank accounts. We have always done it together. Our mindset has always been, we're in this together. It's all ours and ultimately God's, and we are a team. And so we share in all of that. We don't keep the secrets. Also, I have never once doubted that Steve is faithful to me because he's never given me a reason to feel insecure. Once again, because we have no secrets. We know each other's passwords. We know each other's email. We can look at the text. We don't keep anything off limits, and that makes me feel secure. And Steve never leaves, so we never have anything vague left to our imagination. He's chosen also not to put himself in a vulnerable situation by meeting with women alone, and therefore I never have to wonder what's going on.
By the way, that was my choice at the beginning of our marriage. She didn't mandate that. That's something that I wanted to do for me and for her.
And it makes me feel safe, and it protects him and makes me feel secure. I have never felt the need to go snooping because Steve has never done anything to make me feel insecure. And if you have ever given your mate a reason to feel insecure, don't make them snoop. And don't make them feel bad if they need you to reassure them if you've broken their trust. You need to do whatever it takes to make it right so that they can feel confident in your relationship again.
I'll just say this. If you've breached the trust, okay, it's your responsibility, okay, to build the trust back. Do not make your mate, okay, be the one that's being motivated for you to be vulnerable. You go overboard in being vulnerable. It's your responsibility as the person who's broken the trust.
That's right. And when a woman feels secure, she will thrive. And Steve has done an amazing job at providing security for me.
Okay, so my fifth greatest need is that of a helpmate, all right? Lisa manages our home. She manages our home, our house, our children, the food, our family, the calendar, the kids' calendar, my calendar, the clothing, the gifts, the presents. She'll make lunches. She watches over our family and our daily schedule. She does all that. She manages our family. Let me just say this. She's not a maid. She's not a chef. She's not a nanny. She's a manager of our home and our family. The greatest institution that God's given is the family, and she manages our family. I do help out on all that frequently, right?
He's
from the very
helper.
beginning.
Yes.
I'm a good helper.
Yes.
All right, Proverbs chapter 31 says, 31:27, she carefully watches over everything in her household. You know, I often have said whenever our kids were growing up and in the middle of all these calendars and these plans and all, and I work and just, I didn't know all the, what was going on. And I'd be trying to help with the kids and I'd look at them, I'd say, hey, and it was a little kind of running joke. If your mom ever dies, you're really in trouble. You are really in trouble because we're clueless, okay? And that is the truth. Lisa, she loves her family, and she loves her family hard, okay? She's fiercely loyal and protective of me. She's fiercely loyal and protective of our children. The mama claws can come out at any given time to protect us. when I have a problem, she shares in that problem. She's a helper. She shares with me, okay? She's a helpmate. She's faithful at praying for me. She's faithful at praying for the children. She helps me with messages, with work. She helps me as I'm going through trials. I help her when she's going through trials. We share visions together. We have ideas together. We pass those off on each other. She is a prayer warrior, man. She will pray the blood of Jesus over her kids when they leave. The blood of Jesus. She's a prayer warrior. You know, she's petite, but let me tell you what, she's petite and powerful. That she is. You know, because Lisa is my helpmate and she does a great job of being the manager of our home, she brings great value, okay, as a wife and a mother to our marriage. It provides the environment, okay, that helps me personally grow stronger and healthier in my relationships, but also my relationship with the Lord. And so I think you have a fourth one. Is that right?
Yes, I do. And I like being your helpmate, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
My fourth greatest need is affirmation, and that's just affirming words. And Mark Twain once said, I can live for 2 months on a good compliment.
I love that.
Well, I have a God-given gift of exhortation, so it's very easy for me to compliment others. But I also have a need for affirmation, and it's actually one of my top love languages, although Steve says that I have them all.
And they can change at any given moment, okay, without giving me notice. So I've got to all five love languages, and I got to make sure. I got to be on the exam.
Affirmation does mean a lot to me. It means so much to me when Steve compliments me or shows me appreciation for the things that I've done for him. You know, I never get tired of hearing the words that you're so beautiful, or I'm so glad that I married you, or you're a great mom. I mean, who would get tired of hearing that? He's even made it a point to say thank you when I go to the grocery store, when I do the laundry, when I make dinner. And I was going to do those things anyway, but it just makes it really nice when he notices that and shows me the appreciation and gives me affirming words.
I'm feeling so good about myself right now.
Well, everyone needs a blessing of encouragement. Yeah. So anytime that you think something nice about your spouse, don't just think it. You need to speak it, because a blessing is not a blessing unless it's spoken. And studies show that it takes 5 positives to offset 1 negative. So our words need to be full of life. Our words can help heal our mate's heart. You can be the one who transforms your spouse's life by the words of affirmation that you give to them. You know, when Steve affirms me, it makes me feel valued, it makes me feel secure, it makes me feel loved, and that I'm important. And he lets me know that he couldn't do things without me. And he also lets me know that we are a team, and I love that. Who doesn't want to be around someone who is affirming them? I know I want to be around someone that's affirming me, and he wants to be around someone that's affirming him. When he does that, it gives me a sense of confidence and purpose that helps me grow so that I can be all that God's called me to be.
You're the best wife that anybody could ever
and you're the best
hope to have.
ever.
No, I'm meeting your affirmation need right now. That's for me later. Okay, so there's a pattern. Okay, there'll be a pattern of these needs. Lisa's are very spiritual and godly needs. Mine are very fleshly needs, all right? So a helpmate, first of all, okay? Secondly, how about my fourth greatest need is an attractive wife. Okay, an attractive wife. And so let me explain to you a little bit about what I feel about this, all right? The first thing that drew me to Lisa was her looks before I even knew her. Okay, I'm sorry if that's sin, I confess it, okay? But she looked beautiful to me, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, today, I think she's hot and sizzling hot, you know? And so I'm drawn to her looks. There's no doubt about it. I love to be with Lisa. I love to go somewhere, and I got her on my arm like she's my trophy wife. I look better today, okay? Because she's right by my side. And so there's something about that I love. Maybe it's pride or whatever, but forgive me if it is. I'm just telling you it's a need that I have. Now, let me just say this. Not in any way expecting Lisa to buy into this worldly system that puts so much pressure
Yes.
on ladies. That's not what we're talking about at all. As a matter of fact, I've done my very best, okay, to eliminate those kind of pressures from her. I don't believe you've ever felt the pressure
I
from
would
me.
be a much harsher critic for
There's
sure.
no doubt about that. Well, one of the things that I do that helps is I will for sure not compare Lisa to any other woman. I don't do it flippantly. I don't think Lisa's ever heard me say, "Well, that girl looks really good," or "That's a pretty lady on TV." I just don't do it.
Never.
Why do I want to do that when I have, in my opinion, the prettiest one right there that I could ever have, right there with me? But I don't want her to feel in any way. Now, ladies, you might be, kind of settling into your marriage, and you might be, kind of relaxed, and you might say, "Well, yeah, I really don't really care too much about the way I look. I'm kind of past that whole thing." And well, let me just say this. You might want to check with your husband to see if he is. Because I bet you there's a good chance that he was drawn to you and the way you looked as well. Now, it might literally be a legitimate need of his. Now, the reality is, Lisa does not look like this at home. Okay?
I don't.
This is we're revealing right now. we're confessing. She actually doesn't look like this at home. She looks really different. But I could care less.
Well, let's not go to extremes.
But I could care less. I don't know. I'm getting myself digging deeper. But I love Lisa. And let me just say this. I don't think she feels any pressure, okay, to have to look a certain way for me. And I love that.
I don't.
However, bottom line is she does have a desire not only to look good for her, but she has a desire to look good for me as well. Now, so let me just say this bottom line, and we'll get off this one, all right? For all of us, this is for all of us, okay? I think it's biblical to do the very best that to be the best steward, okay, of what God has given you. And that comes with every aspect of our life. And so I think it's probably biblical that He's given us a body, and we need to do the very best that we can to be good stewards of that body. So I want to get off of this before everybody turns this off, all right? But let me just say this. I'm so proud of the way Lisa looks today, even way 31 years after our marriage, when we were married, because honestly, I think she's more attractive to me today than ever before. And I think it's because I love her so much more.
Well, I love you, and I'm attracted to you still as well. Well, my third greatest need is godly leadership. And this is when Steve spends time with God, when he prays, when we pray together, when we go to church together, when we spend time as a family. And when he leads like this, it makes me once again feel secure. I love it when he talks to me about what the Lord is saying to him. And I want to be led by a godly husband who loves our family and wants to lead us spiritually. 1 Corinthians 11:3 says, "But I want you to understand that Christ is the head of every man, and the man is a head of a woman, and God is the head of Christ." So according to Scripture, my husband is a spiritual leader at our home. And if you want to see a picture of true spiritual leadership, then why don't you look at the leadership that Jesus had? He didn't lord over his disciples, and he didn't treat them like a doormat, but he served and he sacrificed.
He washed disciples' feet. He served them, and he died on the cross. That's the kind of leadership, okay, that we as husbands need to be given to our wives, that are willing to serve, get dirty, wash their feet, serve them, and also die every day. And I think you're going to talk a little bit more about that.
And godly leadership, it shows love. Ephesians 5:25 says, "Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." So, husbands, sometimes the most effective way that you can lead is by dying to your own desires and wishes, your own needs and wants. When Steve places his needs above my needs, it shows me how deeply he cares for me, how much he loves me, and once again, I feel secure. Another thing that Steve does that I really appreciate is that he always seeks godly counsel, and he's accountable to other men. He's not a lone ranger. So Proverbs 11:14 says, where there is no counsel, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So Steve never makes any big decisions without first talking to me or to other men that he trusts. He also values our family greatly. And this is a huge example of godly leadership to me. I believe a great husband is a good father and a role model for our children. And no matter how busy Steve was when our children were young and growing up, he always made time to be their coach and to come to their special events. Investing in our children has always been a priority to him because they are our legacy. And he dated our daughters, and he modeled for them what a man should look like that they dated, and he set the bar high so that they wouldn't fall prey to any smooth talker that came their way. He also taught our son how to treat a woman and how to be a man of God. And if a man abdicates his leadership role, then it makes a woman feel like that she has to step into that, because a woman is not going to let her children or her household goal go, and this is going to cause her to have a burden placed on her that she was never meant to carry. So to me, there is nothing like having a husband who is following God. And because Steve has been a godly leader, God has truly blessed our family.
You know, over 30 years ago, when Lisa and I were married, we were the broken and clueless couple.
Yes.
Did not exactly know where our marriage was headed. But one of the main reasons why we're here today, 31 years later, thriving in our marriage, is we learned to identify the needs of our mate and serve the needs of our mate. Remember what we said, you don't marry your soulmate, you make your soulmate. So join us next time, okay, as we reveal, okay, the rest of our top 5. God bless you and have an awesome, awesome day.
Thanks for joining us.